Welcome back to another episode of Ministry of Truth. I am your only host on this show. And what we got for you today is we're going to take a little history lesson back to 2000. 2000 when William Jefferson Clinton, and his operation that, if it was okay then, it's okay then now, right? But in reality, we're going to show you that even during the Clinton administration, we did not want to separate families. Then we're going to go into a potential lawsuit for CNN. Why would they be getting a lawsuit? We'll go into that. And then we're going to talk about Trump and Davos and the World Economic Forum, where it pretty much turned into hey, we're good. I'm Donald Trump, and I'm going to roast all of you for your being shitty. And we're going to talk about how much America has become the great power. And I'm not going to really get into it too much, but we kind of have Greenland now. We kind of have Greenland. It's crazy to think that. But before we get started, this is going to take us back to, me, when I was a young soldier in the United States Army. And bless you. All right, stopped him from sneezing. And we used to play this along with another song before we went out drinking. And it's coming. And it's not coming. Yeah, her sneezes are shy today. They're shy today. But it's coming. All right. Well, let me get to this song. A little fresh on your memory. Go get you something to drink, get you something to eat. Coffee is good, but I already had mine, obviously. Can you tell? There it is. There it is. Nailed it. Now shut up. All right. I'll see y'all in a couple minutes. Enjoy. Enjoy this throwback. Because we're going to do a throwback to the news as well.
Meet it 2000, baby. Icons. Street money. Y'all ready? Come on.
If you smoke weed now, in this bitch you all wanna climb. Got a drink that you can't put down. Wanna fight when the shit go down. Get fucked up. 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 Get fucked up.
Nigga who? Look at all the shit we do. Committee blessed nigga with tracks. I'm finessing the raps. You got 100,000 better. Best invest in chaps. Some labels spend a fucking meal. CD still on the rack. I got a click the nigga strap ready for war. We prefer the ball and get bomb head from halls. You know it's on nigga with my click paw liquor. Nigga shining too, but the ice look bigger. Out the drop, dying, hanging, banging my nuts. Perfect cuts, supplying your sight. Shit, I'm just too much. Niggas heads to feel the rush when they turn me up. Bitch, and pussy to bustin' up when my click come up. Icons, player, we supposed to shine. Nigga, fuck X and Coke, we gon' blow your mind. We got some shit for that ass if you step out of line. And when committee take control, y'all gon' fall behind.
If you smoke weed now, in this bitch you all wanna climb. Got a drink that you can't put down. Wanna fight when the shit go down. Get fucked up. 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 Get fucked up.
Yo, get fucked up, stay fucked up. Roll to the club in the navigator truck. Buy out the bar like I don't give a fuck. Who you know out there stay fendied up? Plus this classy chick stay sick as shit. You need more than Ben's cool to taste this chick. Y'all ballers in the club gon' try to hit, but y'all ain't even here with shit. So my girls is gon' clown, get towed down. Y'all better know we ain't fucking around.
All right.
Icons.
Enough of that. Yes, Gomez, we did get it for a lifetime. However, we didn't get all of Greenland. We did get enough of Greenland to where we could build our bases, our Golden Dome, which means Iran, China, and Russia. Good luck. Good luck launching those missiles across the northern part. Funny how they always want to guard the northern part of the planet, but never worry about the southern part. I wonder why. Is it because there's no southern part? Hear me out. Hear me out. Look at the map. A globe. But instead of a round globe, put it like this. And then put circles, layers of 4 outer layers of Earth. Just saying. Just saying. Because wouldn't it be... Why do they have to fly to the northern part of the planet? right? No? Anyway, throwback time.
I know you're gonna dig this. Not commonly common. Not commonly common. Not commonly common. Not so commonly common.
The pictures of Elian taken this morning.
I don't know if many of you were paying attention to this. I was 17, 18. I remember this story. This was actually, I was already in the Army. So I wasn't a kid. Well, I kind of was a kid, but I wasn't.
Were striking.
They could have found another way to do it. They could have tried and found another way because that wasn't the right way to do it.
Sound
Even
familiar?
those who feel the boy belongs with his father were bothered.
If it was an American child and the situation was reversed, there's no way in the world we would be debating this. I mean, the child belongs with his father. The way they went about it was appalling.
What Deborah Allagood says was even worse was doing it when Saturday morning cartoons were on TV, and young children like her daughter were watching.
I came in, and she's like, well, what?
Wait. So they did this on live TV on Saturday morning. Pretty big optic. It's pretty big optic. Sounds like regurgitation of history?
What did he do wrong, Mommy? And I'm like, he didn't do anything wrong. They're there to help him. But the look on her face was like, they're not there to help him.
Well, I think he looks scared, and if I were him, I would probably look scared too.
Josh is just 2 years older than Elian. He was lucky to have watched the coverage with his mom, a child psychiatrist.
At this point,
Bro. Oh my God. I'd be curious to know if that kid's trans right now. I'm just saying. I mean, hands-off approach.
some of the new pictures that have come out regarding the reunification, that it might be helpful for children who are still showing some anxiety and fear to give them a chance to see that so that they also understand.
Wait a minute.
That have come out.
So this bleeding heart liberal basically said it's good for them to see their children or their families together again. Even though that baby on the left kind of looks like me when I was a kid, but I was already whatever. But it's not so bad to deport them together, right? But no. They want to throw a fit.
Regarding the reunification, that it might be helpful for children who are still showing some anxiety and
Oh, by the way, the way he got over here, there was a bunch of boats, or a boat that escaped Cuba. And for some reason, that boat fucked up. Mom died. Dad was still in Cuba. And the kid ended up going with, I think, like an uncle or something. But since he wasn't a legal citizen and the dad wanted him back, hey. And they mentioned that his dad actually picked him up from Joint Base Andrews and then flew back to Cuba.
fear, to give them a chance to see that so that they also understand that this wasn't a little boy being removed to something horrible. He wasn't being removed and thrown into jail, because kids, if you don't let them see concrete evidence, develop their own fantasies.
A lot of the
You hear that? They need to see the reality. The reality. But as we know, that Elian Gonzalez stuff, the reality was what TV was showing you. TV. Not today when you have 30 different cameras all over the place looking at one area. And it's funny because Janet Reno is going to mention something about it being on the news.
Americans that are now are just like, it's his father. There's no dilemma here. And people who know what communism is like know that's not
that easy.
Christina Dermody's mother and father know that firsthand. Both were born in Cuba and told their children what the country was like when Castro took over.
Life basically stopped once Castro got there. There's no progression. Everything's controlled by the government, communism. I mean, the demonstrations you see in Cuba on TV, it's all controlled by the government. The people are told what to think.
Like many Cuban Americans, Dermody hoped there was some way Elian could stay in the U.S. and escape life in communist Cuba.
I think the ideal situation would be that they all stayed here. The father was here and just, you know, ask for asylum. I think that would be the ideal situation. And I honestly did not think Castro was going to let the father come because of that, but he's playing games, so.
Dermody thinks Elian's story will have a profound effect on the psyche of Cubans in Miami, but she hopes that effect will be nonviolent.
Funny, those Cubans love Donald Trump.
When Ahmad Rivasfar watched Elian Gonzalez,
And again, most Cubans are actually Republican.
Florida, he thought of his
or
own
conservative.
children and the threat that they too would be taken by authorities and returned to their mother as part of an ongoing custody dispute.
There could have been.
You see how they tried that this past year? All the children getting deported. But this case, the child naturally has to go with his father, right? Well, what was the big deal? Keeping families together. But the optics of it, the way they rated him and they played it on Saturday morning during Saturday morning cartoons, there you go. That's the fear propaganda.
Being pulled out of the house, and that thought is just it's unspeakable.
Attorney Greg Mott represented Saya and Arash Rivasfar in that custody battle.
There was a concern that someone would issue an order directing law enforcement officers to assist in enforcing that order. So it was there all the time.
Attorney Greg Mott says as heart-wrenching as it was to watch young Elian being removed from the house, the law protects natural parents.
Yo, God damn, look how far we've come since 2000. Holy shit.
Cases where they're considered unfit custodians. He says it's rare, at least in this area, to involve law enforcement in custody cases, but it does happen.
But it's, you know, emotionally charged, and people just the thought of losing custody is too much.
Ahmad Rivasfar is thankful that didn't happen in his case. He only hopes young Elian will someday be able to put these terrible memories behind him. Patrice Walsh, News Source 13.
No, you're drinking a beer that early?
About the only things gracing the avenues of Little Havana today were closed signs.
Uh-oh. Wait. So in Miami, the Cubans don't want to go outside of fear of... Well, it was INS back then, but... Huh? I think INS became ICE. Maybe that's why I used to call it INS all the time. Anyway. Look, the Cubans didn't want to go out. Somalians don't want to go out to work or go to school or do anything. Wait, so they're basically doing the same shit they were doing before. Huh. History repeats itself, guys.
At this Cuban restaurant, the doors and the debate over Elian Gonzalez were very much open. The owner of La Palma restaurant, Jose Faundo, believes a Miami strike will do nothing to change Elian Gonzalez's future.
I know the president can do nothing, but the father say, no, I want my baby back.
Huh?
He's got to give the baby back.
But some of Faundo's customers disagreed. Felix Noel was born in communist Cuba and moved to the U.S. only years ago.
And this boy staying over here in America, he's gonna have good life. He's gonna have good future. Him, his father, his little brother, his stepmom. This guy, he got inclusion.
Though the group disagrees where Elian should live, all say the use of force by INS officials to remove Elian from his relative's home was extreme.
In my opinion, I think it's a bunch of stupid.
Really?
Yes. Why? Should they just stop?
You got to stop it. This the son. He's the father. He want the boy back. Why give the boy back?
So they were saying those tactics were brutal.
20 years ago today, armed federal...
Brutal. Interesting. People forget. People forget. Things do happen like this. That's why it's funny. I don't know why I thought of this guy's kid's name the other day. All of a sudden, out of the blue. You're not going to see this on mainstream media because it's just me and my OCD, autism, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I did say something about it, so I had to bring it up. And this is the president at the time and how he felt about this situation.
Agents burst into a Miami home in a dramatic pre-dawn raid to seize 5-year-old Elian Gonzalez, the young Cuban boy at an international custody dispute between relatives in Miami and his family back in Cuba. He was found drifting in a raft by himself off the coast of Florida after his mother, who had fled Cuba with him, died at sea. After the raid, Elian was reunited with his father at Andrews Air Force Base, and the two returned to Cuba.
Oh, that's cute. They not only did, like I said previously, the dad got to fly from Cuba to a military base, pick up his son, and go back home for a happy reunion. But people were mad. But they wanted to separate the family at that point. But that was okay back then. But you know, we put them back together, and then they still complained. I don't get it.
Roger got here really late, and then they were gonna have to drive.
The Department of Justice, under the leadership of Attorney General Reno, went to great lengths to negotiate a voluntary transfer. Even yesterday, the Attorney General worked very hard on this late into the night.
Voluntary transfer.
Showing great restraint, patience, and compassion. I hope with time and support, when all efforts failed, there was no alternative but to enforce the decision of the INS and the federal court that Juan Miguel Gonzalez should have custody of his son. The law has been upheld, and that was the right thing to do. I am well aware that this has been a difficult time for all the parties involved. I talked to the Attorney General extensively, especially in the last several days. This was in the end about a little boy who lost his mother and has not seen his father in more than 5 months. I hope with time and support, Elian and his father will have the opportunity to be a strong family again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One of the beauties of television is that it shows exactly what the facts are. And as I understand it, if you look at it carefully, it shows exactly what the facts are. One of the beauties of television is that it shows exactly what the facts are.
Oh.
And as I understand it, if you look at it carefully, it shows that the gun was pointed to the side and that the finger was not on the trigger. It is important in these. One of the beauties of television is that it shows exactly what the facts are.
Okay.
And as I understand it, if you look at it carefully, it shows.
Like the television, because we had AOL back then and Netscape, I think it was. You know, the CDs you would get in the mag, whatever.
To the side, and that the finger was not on the trigger.
Huh.
It is important in these situations to look carefully.
What up, Yeti?
And to understand the facts, and to understand that we had received information that there were guns, perhaps in the crowd, perhaps in the house. It was unclear.
Oh, they were worried about guns in the crowd. Kind of like today. Oh, by the way, Minneapolis a judge authorized him to use tear gas again. So, yeah, it's coming back.
But the safety of all involved was paramount. And when law enforcement goes into a situation like that, it must go in prepared for
Hey, what's
the
up, Nanya?
unexpected.
See, history lesson. They used fear and obviously brown people and immigration to get their point across. So we'll see. And now this is the one where I think CNN's about to get their dick slammed in the door again. Not to mention this young kid, Cameron Kasky. Just watch. Just watch.
Basically playing Risk because people hurt his feelings, or people ostensibly hurt his feelings. So I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
What?
So I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president is being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize and his desires for Greenland. Scott, what do you think about that?
You're going to let that...
I'm glad Scott's on this show. Because if Scott hadn't been there, yeah, that definitely would have never been brought up.
That the president is being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize and his desires for Greenland. Scott, what do you think about that?
You're going to let that sit? Are we going to claim here on CNN that the president is part of a global sex trafficking ring, or?
Well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Scott, I will do the fact checking as we go along here. Repeat what you said about the global sex trafficking ring.
That Donald Trump was provably very involved with it.
Okay, we'll get
and then he doubled down on it.
To that later. I mean, Donald Trump has never been charged with any crimes in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. But we
but let's be adults here.
We'll talk about Epstein files later.
Serious.
Satisfied?
Here, let me read this to you. Cameron Kasky. I would like to retract my comments from CNN late last night and truly apologize. Donald Trump was obviously not involved with a giant international child sex trafficking ring where women and children were systemically raped by elites. I said this by accident and did not mean it. Bro. First of all, it sure as hell sounded like you meant to do it on purpose because you repeated it. And then you wanted to argue about it, right? Fucking moron.
The president is...
No, not you.
I think they're fabulous.
All right.
Just in world history, we were losing more than one. Instead of immigration,
I couldn't find the live where I was actually watching this live, but I think I was watching it on Benny. So if the World Economic Forum or the media tried to change any of this, Benny Johnson's live stream didn't change. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump versus the elite.
Border is closed and virtually impenetrable. And the United
We're live.
States
Let's rock.
Of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history.
Trump just took the stage seconds ago.
Shut up,
Administration in America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth, and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite. Virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself.
I'm just waiting. Maybe next year, if the interest rates on mortgages drops below 4, I'm refinancing like a motherfucker.
And a few
I think I'm
others
at like a 5.2.
predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings.
All right, that's kind of like a little bit true, but not true. It should have been adding to 401ks, but I told my wife to check her when this check yesterday when I heard this. It's gone down.
People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, 1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of.
And then hours later, we got Greenland. Art of the deal. It's kind of weird. All of a sudden, NATO's like, oh, bro, we know. My bad. Here you go. But let us make a deal to where it looks like you won, and it make it look like we won. All right? Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. And Daddy got Greenland.
Investment that's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we've achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable.
Bro, that loan we gave to Argentina, apparently that was already paid back in full. And that was a few months ago.
We can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that Sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any.
Fuck yeah.
Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they make in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of
Yeah, because that's why the job report numbers were so inflated during the Biden administration, because federal workforce increased because of the stay-at-home shit. And then look, cut a lot of jobs, and we're still running efficiently. It's almost like those jobs weren't needed.
raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month, they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation, but instead I've cut, actually till this point, 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So
I forgot to fact check that yesterday, so I'm gonna have to remember to do it again. Actually, I need to write it down. That's why I forgot.
every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America. They are so in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days. This is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program, but you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. It was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%. And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right
So
thing
far, it
because
looks
they
like it
can't
was
believe
great.
the numbers. American exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and we have steel plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see that. Factory construction is up by 41%, and that number is
I believe that. I believe that because they started 2 more factories out here.
really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made historic trade deals with partners covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Some of the greatest companies and countries in the world. We have countries as our partner, too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea. They're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas. And these agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal, because as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really
He's right. That's why I don't really market watch, but I do check whether or not we closed or I closed in the green or closed in the red. And then I'd look at rest of the world because pretty much the rest of the world follows.
become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs and factories to the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%. Think of that. And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast?
Oh, and Greenland also has oil.
Gasoline actually topped $5 a gallon, and some places $7 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day, and last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela.
But wait, what if? There's no what if. When Alberta gains their independence, because they're getting closer every day, bro. Canada will lose a huge portion of their market. We will gain a huge portion of their market. Oil, grains, lumber. The Keystone Pipeline could, in theory, be started again. Imagine all that. They just got to go make sure they're good. They go down the line and make sure that the pipeline's still good. But
Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal. More people should do that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon in most states. Then we'll soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon.
My time hop
in many places, it's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99, numbers that nobody has heard for years. Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new
10 years ago, I could get diesel for $1.95. Diesel for $1.95. And my tank was what, 35 gallons at the time, babe? The truck was 35 gallons or 30? 30 gallons. Dude, I got to the point where it was so high that my gas would pump all the way to $100 and stop. And then I'd have to restart it and still end up putting another $30 in just to get a full tank.
nuclear reactors.
I saw 195.
Going heavy into nuclear. I was not a big fan because I didn't like the risk, the danger. But they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy.
I'm just saying, nuclear is something that could save a lot.
And we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot. I think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings to build their own electric capacity. They're building their own power plants, which when added up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them do that. I'm very proud of it. It was my idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We needed more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. Then I came up with the idea, you people are brilliant. You have a lot of money. Let's see what you can do. You can build your own electric generating plants. And they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks and they didn't have the plant. They said, we thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks. But most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases. Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse, which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000.
Windmills are stupid.
You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving
it's funny
the problem.
because I lived in Germany, those windmills were fucking everywhere. And I don't think my electric bill was all that cheap either. I think I was paying way more than I do here.
But what they did before he got there,
Plus,
I guess that's why he got there.
Tax on top of it.
And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea, and they like to say, well, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it.
And remember, they just changed the name. Because for us, it was global warming, right? The fuck is... Oh.
Electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills.
But they don't use
And
them.
yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them
Cost the cream penny.
themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they could look like. They don't spin. They don't do anything. They use a thing called coal mostly. But China goes with the coal. They
China's
go
got
with
nuclear too.
oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear a little bit, and they're doing just fine. They make a fortune selling the windmills, though, and I think really that's one that they wouldn't be surprised if it stopped. They are shocked that it continues to go. They're very friendly with me. They're shocked that people continue to buy those damn things. They killed the birds. They ruin your landscapes.
Hell,
Other
they
than that,
have
I
them
think
up
they're
in New
fabulous, by the
England.
way.
They're just ruining the coastline.
Stupid people buy them. The consequences of such destructive policies have been stark, including lower economic growth, lower standards of living, lower birth rates, more socially disruptive migration, more vulnerability to hostile foreign adversaries, and much, much smaller militaries. The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe. We really do. I mean, look, I am derived from Europe, Scotland and Germany. 100% Scotland, my mother, 100% German, my father. And we believe deeply in the bonds we share with Europe as a civilization. I want to see it do great. That's why issues like energy, trade, immigration, and economic growth must be central concerns to anyone who wants to see a strong and united West. Because Europe and those countries have to do their thing. They have to get out of the culture that they've created over the last 10 years. It's horrible what they're doing to themselves. They're destroying themselves. It's beautiful, beautiful places. We want strong allies, not seriously weakened ones. We want Europe to be strong. Ultimately, these are matters of national security, and perhaps no current issue makes the situation more clear than what's currently going on with Greenland. Would you like me to say a few words of Greenland? Yes. I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I think I would have been reviewed very negatively. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Tremendous respect. But
true story. My parents got married in Denmark. Don't know why. Just thought about that. But they got married in Copenhagen, Denmark. Which is weird because I used to like chewing Copenhagen. No relation to Denmark. You know what? Carry on.
Every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States.
Which
We're
he's
a
right
great
about.
power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was then compelled, we did it, we felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory. And hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland.
See, he said Greenland, not Iceland.
And successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also.
Western Hemisphere.
And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. Right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps.
Fucking love that.
After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because
sometimes when I think of the way Donald talks, I'm like, yeah, he sounds like one of those typical Americans. Yeah, yeah. And then I realize this motherfucker's also from New York. So, of course, his filter just doesn't give a fuck.
of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of.
Oh.
They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated.
Oh.
They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles.
Nothing worked.
Went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China.
And failed.
So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory. It's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth, no such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing, but there's so much rare earth.
You just said,
and this to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere. And we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now.
Monroe Doctrine.
That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries. You know, for 2 centuries, they've been trying to do it.
At
They should
least
have kept
five
it
attempts.
after World War II, but they had a different president. That's all right. People think differently. Much more necessary now than it was at that time, however. In 2019, Denmark said that they would spend over $200 million to strengthen Greenland's defenses. But as you know, they spent less than 1% of that amount. 1%.
Got another
no
dog for you.
sign of Denmark there. And I say that with great respect for Denmark, whose people I love, whose leaders are very good. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, this giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for...
If he was lying about what he just said, NATO, all those people in NATO wouldn't have come to that agreement to where we get Greenland. Not entirely, but we get Greenland forever.
For us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired, there's nothing wrong with it. Many of them, some went in reverse, actually, if you look. Some had great, vast wealth, great, vast lands all over the world. They went in reverse. They're stuck back where they started. That happens too. But some grow. But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance. The United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it.
We are
give so
basically
much,
NATO.
and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years. And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person. You wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved.
Whenever anything happens in the world and NATO should be part of it, NATO automatically throws up the fucking bat signal, which is a giant American flag, saying, please, please come help us again. But then they turn around like, yo, you guys are terrible.
In my first term, the war with Ukraine is an example. We are thousands of miles away, separated by a giant ocean. It's a war that should have never started, and it would.
Which is weird, because why would the U.S. be needed to come across an ocean when Europe is right there? NATO was right there. Come on. Come on. I have questions. We've got answers.
Wouldn't have started if the 2020
Wow, that made it sound like I have multiple personalities.
U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
Yep.
It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. You can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections.
It's amazing how many
fair
other countries in
elections.
the world have strong borders. Their immigration is strict as fuck, but not us. We can't do that.
And a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it. When I went in a landslide, a giant landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything, and they only get negative press. That means that it has no credibility. And if they're going to get credibility, they're going to have to be fair. So you need a fair press. But you also need those other elements. And I inherited a terrible, terrible situation. If you look, the border was open, the inflation was raging, everything was bad with the United States when I came into office. But I also inherited a mess with Ukraine and Russia, something that would have never happened. And I know Putin very well. He and I would discuss Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye.
Actually, I forgot to mention, maybe I did. The Board of Peace was officially enacted yesterday. Yes, the Board of Peace is now a thing. And I can't remember, there was a lot of countries from around the world, not just Europe, not just Asia, not just Africa, not just South America. It's pretty much throughout the country, throughout the world. The thing is that the one big rumor I've heard, and I'm more inclined to believe it's fact, is that Vladimir Putin wants to be included in this Board of Peace. Dude, it's like the Justice League of the planet. Whoa, what if we're getting ready for some big alien invasion? Right? Think about it. We need the world. Make it like Independence Day. I can't fly a jet, though. So, we'll figure something out. I don't know why I hit enter. It should have been spacebar.
But he wasn't going to do anything. I said, Vladimir, you're not doing it. He would never have done it. It was terrible what happened. I could see it happening, too. After I left, I could see it happening. Biden had given Ukraine and NATO $350 billion, a staggering sum, $350 billion. I came in, and just like the southern border.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of pausing now because he came in like a wrecking ball. All right, I'll stop.
I came in, and just like the southern border, just like inflation, just like our economy, I said, wow, this place is in trouble, meaning our country. All of these things were out of control. But the border was out of control. We fixed it with the strongest border anywhere in the world. And I've now been working on this war for 1 year, during which time I settled 8 other wars. India, Pakistan. I settled other wars that were Vladimir Putin called me, Armenia, Azerbaijan. He said, I can't believe you settled that one. They were going on for 35 years. I settled it in one day. And
Wait. So Putin calls you a lot? Is the way you make it sound is like you guys are on buddy-buddy terms. But you said you guys don't you don't talk a lot. But, obviously he called you and said, "How did you do that, Donald? How did you do that?" And, wait, we saw what happened in Iran and Venezuela, and, we don't want that to happen to us. So, let me get in on that board of peace. I'll give you $1 billion. All right. But no, really, that's part of the rumor too, is that he wants to invest. I don't know, invest or pay $1 billion towards getting into these board of peace. Board of peace.
President Putin called me. He said, I can't believe I worked on that war for 10 years trying to settle it. I couldn't do it. I said, do me a favor, focus on settling your war. Don't worry about that one. What does the United States get out of all of this work, all of this money, other than death, destruction, and massive amounts of cash going to people who don't appreciate what we do? They don't appreciate what we do. I'm talking about NATO. I'm talking about Europe. They have to work on Ukraine. We don't. The United States is very far away. We have a big, beautiful ocean separating us. We have nothing to do with it. Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP, but they weren't paying. Most of the countries weren't paying anything. The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO. And I got that stopped. I said, that's not fair. But then more importantly, I got NATO to pay 5%, and now they were paying, and now they are paying. So something nobody said was possible. They said, we will never go up higher than 2%. But they went to 5%, and now they're paying the 5. They didn't pay the 2, and now they're paying the 5.
Canada's
and
not
they're
paying.
stronger for it, and they have an excellent, by the way, Secretary General who's possibly in the room. Mark, are you here? Yes, he's here. Hello, Mark. We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable.
Oh, shit.
But
oh, he said, come and try it. We want all the smoke. Bring it. Sorry, I feel like that warrior spirit's coming through again.
I won't do that. Okay, now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
He didn't.
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now. After I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so today, we have a budget of $1.5 trillion. We're bringing back battleships. The battleship is 100 times more powerful than the great battleships you saw in World War II, those great, big, gorgeous.
And think about it. We have the unheard of technology, right? Which it's technology that I've already thought of and talked about for years. You get a battleship with that technology on it, unfucking stoppable. That bitch will be in stealth mode. You'll never see it coming. You'll never see it coming. Unless you're an oracle, and by the time you see it's coming, it's a little bit too late.
The Missouri, the Iowa, the Alabama. because I thought maybe we could take them out of mothballs. They said, no, sir, these ships are 100, think of that, 100 times more powerful than those big, magnificent
I have
pieces.
one in Alabama that I've been to twice. They're fucking big, and there's a lot of space in that bitch. Lot of space. They also had a submarine there too. That was definitely like cramped as fuck.
Of art that you saw so many times ago that you still see on television. You say, wow, what a force. 100 times, each ship 100 times more powerful than the big battleships of the past. So that was the end of the mothball story. So what we have gotten out of NATO is nothing except to protect Europe from the Soviet Union and now Russia. I mean, we've helped them for so many years. We've never gotten anything, except we pay for NATO. We paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills.
True.
And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease. Number one,
we don't have a lease.
Legally, it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. Those missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice. All we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature,
I think he
going
throws
to
shade
be
at
defending
Israel.
Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful.
I got you.
But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it. We did it for Israel. And by the way, I told Bibi, stop taking credit for the dome. That's our technology.
Basically, he's letting Bibi know that because of us, you exist. We could wipe you out. It's our technology. I wish that's what he meant, but we know he kissed the wall.
See, that's our stuff. But they had a lot of courage, and they were good fighters, and they did a good job, and we wiped out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That, Venezuela, taking down Soleimani, wiping out al-Baghdadi when he tried to reinstitute ISIS. We did a lot. I did a lot of big things, all perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know.
Down to the T.
So other presidents have spent, whether foolishly or not, trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO and gotten absolutely nothing in return. We've never asked for anything. It's always a one-way street. Now they want us to help them with Ukraine. And let me say, we're going to. I'm really helping, not even them. I want to see, last week, if you saw, it was 10,000 soldiers, but last month it was 31,000 soldiers died. 31,000. That's this room times, the number of people in this room times 30.
It's up.
Think
That's
of
a
it.
massive
30,000 soldiers died in 1 month. The month before it was 27,000. The month before that it was 28,000. The month before that it was 25,000. It's a bloodbath over there. And that's what I want to stop. It doesn't help the United States, but these are...
You'd think if that was true, we'd see mass graves, mass burials, right? I don't think we've seen any of that. Where is the bodies going? Where are 31,000 bodies a month going? See what I mean? It's like 6 million. Is that number real? Or is it more like 270,000? Oh,
Souls. These are young people. Look like you, look like some of you right in the front row. They go to war. Their parents are so proud. Oh, there he goes, comes back. 2 weeks later, they get a call. Your son's head's been blown off. I want to
accepted
stop
the
it.
risk.
It's a horrible war. It's the worst since World War II. They keep going. They'll exceed World War II. The numbers are staggering. How many people they've lost? They don't want to talk about it. Ukraine and Russia lost just tremendous amounts. And I'm dealing with President Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with President Zelensky, and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now. But they got to get that war stopped because too many people are dying, needlessly dying. Too many souls are being lost. It's the only reason I'm
At least
interested
none of
in
them are
doing it.
American.
But in doing it, I'm
Sounds
helping
bad.
Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right? Last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being. But now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for.
Everybody wants America to be the world's police whenever anything goes on in the world. But when we need a strategic point, all of a sudden, we're the enemy. If we weren't trying to get Greenland, people would still be knocking on our door for help. They're still knocking on our door for help, believe it or not. Because if they weren't, they would ask all our military bases in Europe to please go home.
Many, many decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us if we gave them the call. Gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with
He said Iceland, but I think he's just fucking tired because a lot of people don't know that when he took off from DC Andrews to go over to Davos, his plane got out about an hour, had to turn back around for some mechanical issue, and then he arrived like 2 to 3 hours late, and he had to get to this thing. So he did say Iceland. I mean, I wouldn't mind having Iceland either. But just saying.
all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday
Wait a
because
minute.
of Iceland.
He keeps saying, can we get both? Do we need Iceland? Can I get Iceland? Can we get Iceland? I want Iceland now. Wow, I sound like what's that game? The fuck? I don't know. The World Conquest games. It's kind of like when I play the game Civilization. Oh yeah. I take over the fucking world. Oh, we're friends? Yeah, I don't like you anymore. I'm taking over your area. That's why I was building up my military, you dumb bitch.
So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled. We're going to hit 50,000 and that stock market's going to double. in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening. But this is a good example. After giving NATO and European nations trillions and trillions of dollars in defense, they buy our weapons. We make the greatest weapons in the world, but now we're going to make them faster, much faster. You saw that. I put a cap on the salaries. Then I put no buybacks, no stock buybacks, no various other things that they were doing.
Okay. That makes it even more fun. That makes it even more fun.
I mean, they were making $50 million, but it would take them 3 years to give you a Patriot missile. I said, that's not good. My chauffeur can do a better job than that. And he makes
He's
slightly
right.
less than
There's
50.
one of the I talked about it. I can't remember which of the major military industrial complex companies was moving a little too slow. And he's basically told them, hey, get your shit together or you're done. You're done. You're done, son.
They make big salaries. If they're going to make those big salaries, they're going to have to produce a lot faster. The good news is we have the greatest equipment in the world. Now we're going to start making it a lot faster. They're going to build additional plants. And all of the money that goes into stock buybacks is going to go into building plants. We're not allowing stock buybacks by defense companies any longer. They're going to build new plants to make Tomahawks, Patriots. We have the best equipment, F-35s. F-47, the new one just
Apache
coming out.
attack
They say it's the
helicopters.
most devastating plane, fighter jet ever. Who knows? They called it 47. If I don't like it, I'm going to take the 47 off it. I wonder why they called it 47. What to think about that? But if I don't like it, I'm going to take that 47 off. But it's supposed to be the stage 6. It's supposed to be the first stage 6 plane, undetectable, like our B-2 bombers were undetectable. They flew right over Iran. They were undetectable. And they did their job and they got the hell out of there. So we want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that piece of land, and we didn't. So they have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you can say no, and we will remember. A strong and secure America means a strong NATO. And that's one reason why I'm working every day to ensure our military is very powerful. Our borders are very strong. And above all, our economy is strong because
border
national
doesn't get a lot of talk? What are we doing to secure the northern border? Have we done anything to secure the northern border? I mean, we could literally have those chinks walking across the border every day and we wouldn't know about it.
security requires economic security and economic prosperity, and we have the greatest that we've ever had. Biden and his allies destroyed our economy and gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history. They say 48 years.
And don't worry, I can call chinks, zipperheads, whatever, because we're all Asian. That's like us saying, what's up, brother? You know? But we don't actually mean it like that. Zipperhead. Dragon lady.
Forever, but I think 48
Dragon lady. That's funny. I should say that one. Oh.
8 years is the equivalent to forever. Whether it's 48 years or ever, it's terrible. Costing the typical family
Nippity.
33.
That's why I was thinking about the northern border, because he brought it up. I think there was like 8 things to it. That's 8, right? 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
$1,000. What they did to this country should never, ever be forgotten. It's early, but he has to be rated as the worst president we've ever had by far. The auto pen did much of the damage. The auto pen, he was the auto pen president, because I don't believe a sane president would have ever signed the kind of things that he signed. But now
I bet you your
price-
signature that I have on my certificate is auto pen. Donald. I bet you it is.
Energy prices, airfares, mortgage rates, rent, and car payments are all coming down, and they're coming down fast. We inherited a mess, but we've done a hell of a job in 12 months. Under my
Hello.
most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%. There are two ways of figuring that. But we have a favored nations policy that every president wanted. No president was able to get. I got it. And other nations approved it. And I had to use tariffs in order to get it because they said, no way.
No
In other
way,
words, a
Jose.
pill that costs 10% in London costs $130. Think it costs $10 in London, costs $130 in New York or in Los Angeles.
Well, these are all my
And I'd say, boy, that's bad.
medical
Friends of
records.
mine would say, you know, we go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we could buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big farm.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was in Iraq, I would look up diazepam because you know maybe I would need to order it, and a blister pack. I think it was like 25 to 50 cents. But then I was at an Iraqi clinic and I was talking to their doctor over there, and I was like, "You have a lot of diazepam," and he showed me like how much it cost. They pay less than a cent per pill for diazepam. Crazy, right? Of course, I may or may not have taken some of it before certain missions. Not gonna lie, it happens.
Pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with the scam for a long time.
Yeah, see, Donald,
But they gave it up.
auto-penned this
But they
shit.
said you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why
It's
is
upside
that?
down
Because
because
they
my
won't.
name's
They
gonna be
always
on
said,
it.
we're not
Look at
paying
that.
anymore. Get the rest for the
Look at
United
that.
States. So over the years, they stayed
You
the same. We just
auto-penned
went
that
up,
shit.
up. And I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than some certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. So you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it? And I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs. Might be a tripling, might be a quadrupling. It's not easy. No, Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%. He said, no. You're asking me to double. I said, Emmanuel, you've been taking advantage of the United States for 30 years with prescription drugs. You really should do it, and you will do it. I have
Isn't
no
Emmanuel
doubt.
married
In
to a
fact,
man
I am 100% sure you're
who's
going
a
to. No,
pedophile?
I will not do it. Because yes, in all fairness to him, he has to double
No,
or
I don't want to
triple.
look through all
Because
that.
the world being a bigger place
I
than
don't
the
want to pull
United
that out.
States, it's not that you meet in the middle. You just have to go up some, and we come down a lot. They go up a little, we come down a lot. So we're at $130. They're at 10. So they may have to go to 20 or 30. No more than that. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling? No. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it. You're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes. And that's about 10 times more than what I'm requesting. And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it, but you may make me do that. No, Donald, I will do it. I will do it. It took me, on average, 3 minutes a country saying the same thing. You will do it. They all said, no, I will not do it. You're asking me to double the cost of prescription. I said, that's right, because you've been screwing us for 30 years. And they said, we will not do it. I said, that's all right. On Monday morning, we're putting a 25, 30, 50. I gave different numbers for different countries. This is also national security we're talking about. Not fair. We're not going to subsidize the whole world. And every one of those countries have agreed to do it. So one of the biggest things that I've done is the fact that we have now most favored nation. We will pay whatever the lowest price is in the entire world. So our drug prices are going to be coming down by staggering 90%. Again, you could say
I wonder how long that
1,000%, 2,000%.
it's going to take effect. I personally don't have to pay for them, but I know others do, which is kind of a coincidence that I have two kids that work in a. Hello. You want on the camera? Say hello. Oscar. Oscar wants to say hello. Nope, nope. The camera's up here. All right. Get your ass out of my face. Oscar says hello. And I forgot what I was talking about. Stupid cat. No, not really stupid cat, but.
Depends on the way you want to figure it, but we'll go with the way the fake news likes it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it sounds.
And I will ask them. And I think I have asked them to let me know if prices have been going down. Not yet, guys. Not yet.
Can you imagine a 90% reduction? Sounds much worse. But drug prices are going to be coming down tremendously in all the nations, and I appreciate them doing it. But they did it, in all fairness, without tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to get it done. After declining $3,000 under Biden, real incomes are up in the United States by $2,000, $3,000, and even $5,000 and more. Home ownership has always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions.
See, my daughter, when she got married, I made sure they were going to be okay. I didn't buy it myself because I don't have that type of money. But I'm like, listen, kid, while you're active duty, this is the best time. Get your VA home loan, and you have a place to stay with my daughter. Which, by the way, there's a no return policy. Okay, we made that sure. They understand it was a no return policy, as is no warranty, right? But it's okay. Now that he has that house, it's a perfect place for my granddaughter. My granddaughter. I know how to pick them because it always took my approval, always does take my approval. And quite honestly, their boyfriend or their husband know that I am still, I don't know why, the oh, because I'm dad and I'm never wrong. They've tried to prove me wrong. I'll stop talking.
And millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high. Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream.
Did
In
anybody else
recent
get
years,
snow
Wall
on
Street
Saturday?
giants and institutional investment
Supposed to get
firms,
6
many of you are
inches.
here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this to you. I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. Often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay,
Oh,
that's something we're going to
and
have to
that's
think about.
funny. We should talk about picking the right person. So my daughter, my other daughter, I was very, very aggressive in my disdain and dislike in trying to, do the dad stuff because it was way too easy. And the first time I met him, he was shaking. It's on New Year's. New Year's. I think it was New Year's. or it's Christmas. It's one of those times. And you know me, everyone knows. If it's your first time meeting dad, you probably should wear a diaper, right? You should wear a diaper. And it's not that I get all angry and yell and start acting like this. This is literally how I talk to them. Exactly how I talk to them. No filter. Just straight up tell them, it's my daughter. All it takes is one word. I'm going to snap you like a twig. Plain and simple. And we have a good understanding. Even my niece, who also came to me to see if I approved of her boyfriend that she's had for forever. And by the time that she left, I'm like, you know what? I approve. I pulled him aside and said, all she has to do is say one word, and I'm going to snap you like a twig. And that was it. Shook his hand. They've had no issues. None of them. I don't understand why. Because I'm a very friendly person. Very friendly. Sometimes I may talk a little brash, a little aggressive, but it's not, it's just me. It's my generation, right? Never would have guessed that Limp Bizkit song would have fit so goddamn well right now. Crazy. You know, the other day I thought I was getting more color back in my beard, and then I realized it was probably the shrooms.
I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses, they buy hundreds of thousands, they buy 500 houses, they can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations. And America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will. One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible president, just horrible president.
What he's talking about should go effect either tomorrow or already has as of 3 days ago.
I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year.
He did an executive order, I thought. I'm going to look more into that because I'm pretty sure he was yo.
And this will help millions of Americans save for a home. They have no idea they're paying 28%. They go out there a little late in their payment and they end up losing their house. It's terrible.
28%.
To unleash innovation and savings and financing, I'm also working to ensure America remains the crypto capital of the world. And to that end, last year, I signed the landmark Genius Act into law. Now Congress is working very hard on crypto market structure legislation, Bitcoin, all of them, which I hope to sign very soon, unlocking new pathways for Americans to reach financial freedom. And I did it for two reasons. Number one, I thought it was politically good, and it was. I got tremendous political support. But more importantly, China wanted that market too. It's just like they want the AI. And we've got that market, I think, pretty well locked up. If I didn't do it, Biden was totally against it until before the election when they realized that, there were millions of people voting against him over crypto.
Why would they be against the AI if they literally signed the CHIPS Act, making microchips here? What are you going to use all those microchips for? They got to do something. By the way, Nancy Pelosi got fucking rich off that fucking law act.
And all of a sudden they loved it very much, but it was too late. They blew it. but it is politically popular. But it's much more importantly, we have to make it so that China doesn't get the hold of it. And once they have that hold, we're not going to be able to get it back. So I'm honored to have done it. Finally, I've instructed government-backed institutions to purchase up to $200 billion in mortgage bonds to bring down interest rates. And I'll be announcing a new Fed chairman in the not-too-distant future. I think he'll do a very good job. See, I gave away some of it. He did give that away. So we have something, get something, but somebody that's very respected. They're all respected. They're all great. Everyone that I interviewed is great. Everyone could do, I think, a fantastic job. Problem is they change once they get the job. They do. You know, they're saying everything I want to hear, and then they get the job. They're locked in for 6 years. They get the job, and all of a sudden, let's raise rates a little bit. I call them, sir, we'd rather not talk about this. It's amazing how people change once they have the job. It's too bad. Sort of disloyalty, but they got to do what they think is right. We have a terrible chairman right now. Jerome, too late Powell. He's always too
I
late.
bet you Powell's got a ton of
And
money, though.
he's very late with interest rates, except before the election. He was just fine for the other side. So we're going to have somebody that's great, and we hope he does the right job. Last week, the average 30-year mortgage rate dropped below 6% for the first time in many years. Another major factor in driving up housing costs was the mass
Oh, let's drop it
invasion
like another
of our borders. And I have to say
percent
one
and a
thing
half.
about housing, because nobody ever says this. I am very protective of people that already own a house, of which we have millions and millions and millions. And because we have had such a good run, the house values have gone up tremendously.
Mine has.
And these people have become wealthy.
Not me.
They weren't wealthy. They become wealthy because of their house. And every time you make it more and more and more affordable for somebody to buy a house cheaply, you're actually hurting the value of those houses, obviously, because the one thing works in tandem with the other. And I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the value of people that own a house who, for the first time in their lives, are walking around the streets of whatever city they're in, very proud that their house is worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Whoa.
Now, if I want to really crush the housing market, I could do that so fast.
Bro. 400, 500,000? No, not even close. It still went up $100,000 from when I bought it, but bro, that's not even close. It's not even close to 300,000.
People could buy houses, but you would destroy a lot of people that already have houses. In some cases, they've mortgaged their house, and the mortgage would be very low. And all of a sudden, the mortgage without any changes becomes very high, and they end up losing the house. I'm not going to hurt, and I speak with Scott, who's doing a fantastic job, and Howard, who's doing a fantastic job, and all of my people. And I always say, look, you know, I can crush the hell out of the market. We can drop interest rates to a level, and that's one thing we do want to do. That's natural. That's good for everybody. You know, the dropping of the interest rates, we should be paying a much lower interest rate than we are. We should be paying the lowest interest rate of any country in the world, because without the United States, you don't have a country. I mean, I had a case with Switzerland. We happened to be in Switzerland.
Honestly, I've obviously said that a lot, even before Donald Trump. A lot of these countries right now wouldn't exist if we hadn't, taken the call. Because you remember, who's the first person they call? Not their own blue helmeted fucking faggots. It's the U.S.
Maybe I'll give you a quick story. But they were paying nothing. They make beautiful watches, great watches, Rolex, all of them. They were paying nothing to the United States when they sent their product in. And we had a $41 billion deficit. $41 billion with this beautiful place. Flew over it, isn't it nice? So I said, let's put a 30% tariff on them so that we get back some of it, not all of it at all. We still have a deficit, big deficit. We had 41 million. That's a big deficit. And I said, let's put a tariff on different tariffs, different places. You're all party to them. In some cases, victims to them. But in the end, it's a fair thing. And most of you realize that. But we put a 30% tariff on Switzerland, and all hell broke loose. They were calling, I mean, like you wouldn't believe. And I know so many people from Switzerland, incredible place, incredible, brilliant place. But I then realized that they're only good because of us. And there's so many other examples. I mean, us and probably other places, but a majority of the money they make is because
I
of
mean,
us.
it sounds like arrogance, but it's
We never charged
true.
them anything. So they come in, they sell their watches, no tariffs, no nothing. They walk away, they make $41 billion on just us. So I said, no, we can't do that. So I'm going to bring it up. I still would have a deficit pretty substantial, but I brought it up to 30%. And I guess Prime Minister, I don't think President, I think Prime Minister called a woman, and she was very repetitive. She said, no, 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 you cannot do that, 30%. You cannot do that. We are a small, small country. I said, yeah, but you have a big, big deficit. You may be small, but you have a bigger deficit than big countries. He said, no, 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 please, you cannot do it. Kept saying the same thing over and over. We are a small country. I said, but you're a big country in terms of, and she just rubbed me the wrong way, I'll be honest with you. And I said, all right, thank you, ma'am, appreciate it. Do not do this. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I made it 39%. And then all hell really broke out. And I was paid visits by everybody. Rolex came to see me. They all came to see me. But I realized, and I reduced it, because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt them. And we brought it down to a, lower level. Doesn't mean it's not going up.
That's
We
actually a
brought it
good
down to a
tactic.
lower level. But they pay now, tariff. But I realized that we have many places like that where they're making a fortune because of the United States. Without the United States, they wouldn't be making anything. Think of it. Switzerland made $41 billion on us. And as she said, it's a small place. And I realized with that, I don't know, it was so, because she was so aggressive. And I realized in that conversation that the United States is keeping the whole world afloat. Many places, I could give you 6, 7 places just in the people in this little area. I know every one of them. They're sort of, they're looking down. They don't want to see me. They don't want to stare me in the eyes. But they're taking advantage of, everybody took advantage of the United States. But I've been very fair, and I gave them a tariff, and it was fine. But I realized that without us, it's not Switzerland anymore. Without us, it's not any of the countries that are represented here. And we want to work with the countries. We want to work with them. We're not looking to destroy them. I could have said 39, 40%. I could have said I want a 70% tariff, then we make money with Switzerland. But Switzerland would have been probably destroyed, financially destroyed. I don't want to do that. But we should be paying the lowest interest rate of everybody. I hope Scott's listening to this, because we should be paying the lowest interest rate of everybody. Without us, most of the countries don't even work. And then you have the protection factor. Without our military, which is the greatest in the world by far, without our military, you have threats that you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. You don't have threats because of us. And
The
that's
world
because
police.
of NATO. One other thing, and I have to say it so importantly, in the old days, and I used to say I'm the
It's
youngest
funny
in the
'cause
room. Now I'm among
I
the
don't
old.
really remember ever hearing a politician that thinks the same way like I do. Ever since I could remember it, since the Gulf War, I realized that America doesn't run, the world doesn't run without us. Arrogance, yes, maybe. Debatable, most likely, but fact-driven, yes.
Older. I hate to say it. I don't feel old, but I'm among the older. But I remember not long ago, 20, 25 years ago, when good news came out about, let's say, the United States. The United States had a great quarter. The United States had a great month. All the stocks went up. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Now, when they say the United States had a record quarter, it's unbelievable how well it's doing. All the stocks crash because they say, oh no, inflation, they're going to raise interest rates. And they do. Some of these stupid people like Powell, they raise interest rates. And what they do is they stop you from being successful. It used to be when we had a great quarter, a great month, great earnings, great anything, any
All
good
over
news,
the news.
the stock market went up. That's the way it's going to be. We got to do that again because that's the way it should be. Now, when we have a great month, they want to kill it. Like we did over 5%. When people were surprised, we should do 20%. We could do 25%. When we announce good numbers, and the reason is they're so petrified of inflation. And growth doesn't mean inflation. We've had tremendous growth with very low inflation. In fact, growth can fight inflation, proper growth. So we want to get back to the days when we announce great numbers because we're going to be announcing phenomenal. You know, all these factories that are being built at record, thousands of businesses are being built right now. Remember, $18 trillion is invested. I think the second number is 3. And that was China many years ago. Investments in the country from outside. 18 trillion, nobody's ever seen. And that's money coming in and building things, factories. Thousands of businesses are being built, thousands. Hundreds of big factories, car plants are moving back to the United States. They're coming in from Canada. They're coming in from Mexico, from Japan. Japan's coming in and building plants here in order to avoid tariffs.
He's actually telling
They're
the
coming
truth.
in from China. They're coming in from all over the world. We have more plants being built now, car plants, than we've ever had built, even in the heyday from the 1940s and 50s. And they're bigger. They don't use renovations anymore where they take an old plant, they rip it down, they build a brand new plant, super modern plant. But it's happening at levels that nobody's ever seen. In 2024, the U.S. built less than 2 million new homes, but Biden admitted more than 8 million new migrants. And those days are over. In 2025, for the first time in 50 years, the United States had reverse migration. Boy, that was nice. And these were criminals that were being taken out of our country because they allowed people to come into our country from jails, from gangs, drug dealers, murderers. 11,888 murderers. We've gotten most of them out. And then ICE gets beat up by stupid people from leadership in Minnesota. We actually are helping Minnesota so much, but they don't appreciate it. Most places do. You know, Washington, D.C. is the safest place now in the United States. It was a very dangerous place to walk. And now you can walk with your wife, your kids right through the middle of the city. Right now, Washington, D.C. is as safe as it gets. It was one of the most unsafe. I had to admit, we sent in the military, the National Guard. Within 2 months, it was great. Within 3 months, it's like a really great place and a safe place and a beautiful place. It's even been cleaned up. The graffiti's gone. The fences are gone. We don't have to worry about fences anymore. All of the places, the grasses are cut and replaced with new grass in many cases. It's all going to happen in the spring. But Washington and D.C. is beautiful again, and it's safe. New restaurants are opening up. They're all closing. Now you can't get into a restaurant. Restaurants in Washington, D.C. are all opening. Memphis also, Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana. We're there for 3 weeks. We've cut the crime down by 64%.
Yeah, you notice you don't hear about those incidences. They're doing the same things down in Louisiana. Huh. But you don't hear about that in the news and how quickly it turned around.
Another month, we'll have virtually no crime there. We can do that all over. We're going to help the people in California. We want to have no crime. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy. And we're going to, if he needed it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd love to see. We did help them a lot in Los Angeles, a lot. with the early in my term when they had some problems. But we would love to do it. I will say this, if I were a Democrat governor or whatever, I would call up Trump. I'd say, come on in, make us look good, because we're cutting crime down to nothing. And we're taking people out, career criminals who are only going to do bad things, and we're bringing them back to their countries. But where we've done it, it's been amazing. And we have a capacity to do it at much greater levels. We're cutting illegal aliens off welfare and other government benefits. And I have directed that starting immediately, there will be no more payments to sanctuary cities, because they are really just sanctuaries for criminals. They're really protecting criminals. And those are the ones we have to get out of the country: murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They emptied their mental institutions into the United States. And despite that, we have the lowest crime numbers that we've ever had in the history of the country. Just came out. But equally importantly, we're cracking down on more than $19 billion in fraud that
In
was
Minnesota.
stolen by Somalian bandits. Can you believe that they turned out to be higher IQ than we thought? And we say these are low IQ people. How did they go into Minnesota and steal all that money? And we have, they're pirates. They're good pirates, right? But we shoot them out of the water just like we shoot the drug boats out. They're not pirating too many boats lately. Do you notice? When they go out into those boats, they want to take over a $1.5 billion tanker loaded up with oil. And they say, we're going to blow up your boat. They have powerful weapons. You hit the side of the boat, you blow the whole thing up. The insurance companies are petrified. So they say, just give them the boat. We'll give them money instead. And I don't do that. We blow them right the hell out of the water. We see them going out, we blow them out of the water. We don't have any pirates so much anymore. If we do, they won't be there long. We've cut down with the hitting of the boats that are loaded up with drugs, including submarines. Can you believe they actually buy small, they call mini subs, very fast. They're meant for drugs. We've knocked out 2 of them. The Democrats say they were fishing. You have ruined somebody's fishing weekend. I would say a submarine is not a fishing boat. You don't fish. But we've knocked down drugs by water, the oceans,
Listen,
the sea.
Donald, what the submarine fishing boats are for, if they're like really deep sea fishing, like deep sea fishing, like at the bottom of the Mariana Trench type deep sea fishing. But last time we had one of those, it kind of imploded.
97.2%. Think of that. And I actually say, who the hell are the 3%? Because I would not want to be piloting one of those boats. We knocked them down, and now we're going to start on land. We're going to knock it all out. The land is the easy part. What we did on sea is incredible, and that's our great military. The situation in Minnesota reminds us that the West cannot mass import foreign cultures.
Oh. He knows. He knows. And you know why? Nick Shirley is about going to California.
Which have failed to ever build a successful society of their own. I mean, we're taking people from Somalia, and Somalia is a failed, it's not a nation. Got no government, got no police, got no military, got no nothing. And then we have this fake congressperson who they just reported is worth $30 million. You believe this? Ilhan Omar, talking about the Constitution provides me. She comes from a country that's not a country. And she's telling us how to run America. Not going to get away with it much longer, let me tell you. The explosion of prosperity and conclusion and progress that built the West did not come from our tax codes. It ultimately came from our very special culture. This is the precious inheritance that America and Europe have in common. We share it. We share it, but we have to keep it strong. We have to become stronger, more successful, and more prosperous than ever. We have to defend that culture and rediscover the spirit that lifted the West from the depths of the Dark Ages to the pinnacle of human achievement. We live in an incredible, changing period. It's an unbelievable time, but we have to take advantage of the time that we're in. In our hands are technologies that our ancestors could scarcely have. I mean, they couldn't have even dreamt some of the things that we see today. And so rapidly they're produced. I mean, AI, 2 years ago, nobody ever heard of the term, and now everybody's talking about it. And it can have some very good purpose. It could also have some dangerous purpose. And
Exactly.
for that, we have to watch out. But some tremendous things are happening because of it. And we're leading by so much. We're doing so well. But opportunities that are bigger and grander than ever before in human history are right before us. It is the pioneers in this room. Many of you in this room are true pioneers. You're two truly brilliant people. Just your ability to get a ticket is brilliant because you have about 50 people for every seat. I don't know what. That's Larry. Everything Larry touches turns to gold. He made this very successful. But you're in this room, and some of you are the greatest leaders anywhere in the world. You're the greatest brains anywhere in the world.
And what the hell is Newsom doing there?
And the future is unlimited, and to a large part because of you. And we have to protect you, and we have to cherish you. I always say we have to cherish our brilliant people because there aren't many of them. So together with confidence, boldness, and persistence, let us lift up our people, grow our economies, defend our shared destiny, and build a future for our citizens that is more ambitious, more exciting, more inspiring,
Same to
and
you,
greater than
Short
the
Bus.
world has ever
Same to
seen.
you.
We're in a
Hope you're
position to
gonna
do
have a
things that nobody else has ever
outstanding
even thought
snow-filled
of
weekend as
before.
well.
And many of the people in this room are the ones that are doing it. And I want to congratulate you. And I'm with
Middle
you all the
Tennessee,
way. You
remember?
can do things that nobody else can even think about. So I congratulate you on your tremendous success. And the United States is back, bigger, stronger, better than ever before. And I'll see you around. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Close Up.
Who else would ever go up into something like that on the Giants world stage and just fucking clown everybody? Everybody. And then letting them know, we know that you know that we can fuck you up, right? You know that, right? I know you know that. Even they know that, right? Oh, wait. Wait, we got Greenland? The tariffs are off? Oh. How interesting. But we're not going to get into that today. I don't know why I picked this.
And we are jumping right back into this Democratic Senate primary. One of the Democrats seeking to surpass Congressman Pappas and claim that nomination in September is Karishma Manzoor, a scientist from Exeter. She joins us this morning in studio. Thanks for coming in. Dr. Manzoor, appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Oh no, she's a scientist. Remember, the fucking scientists can't spell fascism right or define it.
So many progressives see this as another big inflection point for the country, a moment to stand up and be counted for what you believe in. As a Democrat, how would you rate the pushback or the fight that Congressman Pappas is taking to the Trump administration right now?
Actually, I want to start somewhere else because every single morning we wake up and what do we hear? Another confusing, terrorizing story coming out of the White House. So let's start there. Because Donald Trump is absolutely taking over our days, our minds. I'm hearing from children, high school kids, who are not sure where is this country going? Where is
I have children. They don't give a fuck what's going on the outside right now. They're children. There was more to that, but I'll let her talk. I knew there was a reason I picked this fucking dumb bitch.
I'm hearing from children, high school kids, who are not sure where is this country going? Where is this world going? So I would like to actually start there. So Donald Trump is creating a situation where he is the national security threat for us.
How so?
He's terrorizing the world. He's terrorizing Americans. In Minnesota, we're seeing Donald Trump's rhetoric take.
They are not terrorizing Americans in Minnesota. They're terrorizing illegal immigrants.
Become reality. He's terrorizing us with speaking out against us, asking us to hate each other, asking us to fear each other. Out in the world, in Greenland, look at what is happening in Greenland right now.
What?
The NATO is planning to invoke Article 5. In the history of the NATO, they've only invoked Article 5 once.
What
that
is
was
Article
after
5?
September 11th. And it was to protect the United States.
What is Article
because
5?
an attack on one NATO nation means an attack on all NATO nations. That's what Article 5 is all about.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is any attack on a NATO nation means the U.S. has to step in, right? No other NATO nation is going to step in and do it all by themselves. It's just not the way that works. So bring it.
They're talking about Article 5 because of the United States, because of the threats coming out of the White House. What kind of a bizarre world are we living in where Donald Trump, the sitting president of the United States, is making our NATO allies feel threatened? Canada,
As they should. As they should.
is feeling threatened. Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Denmark, Greenland, of course, France, UK, every single one of these. That's what we should actually be talking about, because this is not normal, this is not democratic, and so, yes.
Okay, but to the question, you're in a primary.
I'm in a primary.
Opponent, one of your opponents is Congressman Pappas. Do you believe, as a Democrat, that he is pushing back hard enough against this administration?
The whole structure of the Congress is actually something we should talk about. The Republicans are also there as elected officials, as senators and representatives.
Thank you for the civics lesson.
They're acting like spineless sycophants. What is up with that? Many Democrats are fighting back. Unfortunately, we're not necessarily seeing that from Representative Chris Pappas. He's been in Congress for 7 years. The best people can say is that he's just there and that he's not a Republican. That's not good enough. We cannot just keep electing people who are just Democrats. We have to elect the right Democrat. Somebody who's going to care.
Oh, see? Doesn't matter who the Democrat is if they tell you it's the right Democrat, even though they're a fucked up Democrat.
About the people of America and try to improve their lives. At the moment, in the United States, as well as New Hampshire, but across the country, 42 million Americans don't have enough to eat. 42 million Americans. That's a national security.
False. It's 9 million Americans. 9 to 12 million Americans. Americans. Fixed it for you.
Threat. 20 million Americans just lost health insurance because of the cuts to Medicaid and ACA.
Because no longer funding health care for illegal aliens. Got it.
Expand ACA premiums. That's a national security threat. Kids in America don't have enough to eat. Their education is subpar. We are not investing enough in public education.
You know why? Because you have stupid school boards, stupid teachers that are teaching everything but the basics.
That's a national security threat. When the next generation of Americans are not growing up in the best possible version of themselves. And let's not forget that we live in the richest country in the world. Why do we have a healthcare crisis, a housing crisis, a childcare crisis? It's because too many in Congress, whether it's Representative Pappas or...
It's because too many of the people in the country got so used to getting handouts where they can realize, oh, this system is amazing and there's really nothing they can do to make it stop. Let's keep it going and going, and let's let more people in. Oh, you're not American? Oh, you're here illegally? Here you go. You can have these benefits.
The Republicans or the others, too many people in Congress are not caring for the people of the country. They're answering to their donors, and that is an absolute threat to our democracy.
You mentioned Minnesota earlier. I want to go there. Do you believe immigration and customs enforcement should be abolished?
So let's talk about this for a second.
Yes or no?
We actually have a law and order system. I actually trust our town police, our state police, our federal police. ICE is not law enforcement.
Oh.
ICE is acting like a paramilitary force. Many of the ICE agents are not.
I mean, a lot of law enforcement is kind of a paramilitary force.
Not adequately trained. They're going in fatigues into communities,
We don't use that word anymore.
terrorizing these communities, grabbing people out of their cars, knocking on doors, asking, using threatening language. That's not law enforcement. I know my police chief in my town of Exeter.
Yo, I've had cops tell me, shut the fuck up, right? Or push me. See? It happens. Sometimes they have to get rough.
What a wonderful human being that person is. He cares about his community, he cares about the people, he cares about public safety. When I look at ICE and the videos that are coming out of Minnesota, that's not police, that's not law enforcement, that's thuggish behavior.
Oh. Remember that video I showed at the very beginning? Where it was live during Saturday morning cartoons? They busted in on the TV to breaking news, watch as we take this kid from his home by force.
And this is typical of Donald Trump. There is a system in place. If anyone breaks laws in our country, whether it's a civil law or a criminal law, there's a law enforcement system that can actually take care of it.
Civil law. Coming into the country is a civil law, right?
Why do we have to create this additional paramilitary service that is answering to Donald Trump and Kristi Noem?
We went over this yesterday. ICE actually existed in 2003 because of 9/11. So, and before that, I believe, I'm going to double check, it was called INS. Because I used to remember it as INS.
So, abolish ICE, yes or no? You said it on X. You said abolish ICE.
We
so
should absolutely defund ICE. Yes.
So what happens next? How do you enforce the border? How do you enforce
We have a
immigration
CBP,
law?
yes. Customs and Border Patrol. We have a Customs and Border Patrol. We should absolutely give them the right amount of funding. We have to do this, and we have to, if the law enforcement is an issue, if their crimes are an issue in certain cities, then let's use the funding to...
No. I knew it. So it was INS, and it got dissolved in 2003. What started in 2003, ladies and gentlemen? ICE. Huh? Dissolve it, change the name, and we're good. It does that. We'll forget about that stuff right there, right? Because it only involves ICE now.
Send those federal dollars back to the states, to our local police. Why create another extra law and order system which is not really enforcing law?
What's the difference between saying abolish ICE and saying defund the police?
I never said defund the police.
No, but what's the difference between those two sentiments?
The police force I believe in. The law and order system I believe in. We have a public defense system. We have a law enforcement system. ICE is not law enforcement.
They actually are.
ICE is not law enforcement. Please, let us not...
If you're saying that means the FBI is not law enforcement, right?
So what happens when you abolish ICE? What happens to those 20,000 officers?
What happens to them? Actually, let's talk about who those agents are. Do we even know who they are? Why are they always covering up their faces? Are they coming from, are they January 6th insurrectionists?
No, they're covering their faces because they're going to get doxxed. Why do you think your people cover their faces? Huh? So they don't get recognized when they're doing stupid shit. Because you get stupid people having something that could be good. They're going to do stupid things and stupid shit happens. I know I said that along. So it's pretty much...
Are they Proud Boys? Are they coming out of 4chan? Are they coming out of some extremist group? This is very concerning. Law enforcement officers have so much power over us and deserve so much respect from us. They are highly trained, they're respectful, they're heavily armed, and yet they have they're not covering up their faces. They have badges on with their names and the insignia telling us which force they're coming from. What is ICE is covering their faces, acting thuggish, dragging people out of the cars. So anyways, ICE is...
Okay, so you want the police to do that. I like it. Deputize law enforcement. Be like, listen, do this. You're law enforcement, make it happen. It's all right. She wants a black guy at a traffic stop to be pulled out of his car and beaten, right? And she's totally okay with that. But an ICE agent pulling somebody out of the car, just pulling him out of the car. No. We can't do that. We, as in, all these minorities, can't do that.
It's not law enforcement.
Are you saying that to maintain employment, that they face an ideological test? That you'd have to find out what they believe?
Again, let's talk about, okay, what is going on in Minnesota is terrorizing folks. So I don't want to spend a lot of time just talking about ICE at the moment. I actually want to talk about what's going on across the country.
Well, this is the idea.
Isn't she the one that brought it up? She ignored his question and she brought it up, but now she doesn't want to talk about it when she gets pressed. I like this. I hope she wins. So whoever that Republican she has to go up against is easy money.
If you're the nominee, then, I mean, there are going to be attack ads that say she wants to abolish ICE and fire 20,000 law enforcement officers.
But
you may
that's
not think
twisting
it's fair,
the news. That's twisting the story.
That's the attack ad. You're going to have to answer to it. So how do you respond to that when people say, hey, she wants to get rid of all these people?
I think those $30 billion that is being given to ICE, I think those $30 billion should be given to our town police, our city police, our state police, as well as the federal police. The $45 billion that is being given to the four...
Why should we pay for state and local police? I don't want to pay for somebody's state and local police that's outside of Tennessee. Why would I want to do that?
For-profit detention centers. Don't forget, for-profit private detention centers.
Who made those possible? What political party made those possible?
Who are these people and who are they answering to? They're definitely not answering to Congress. We don't even know what's going on inside. People who are being released from these detention centers, they're telling us that they don't have adequate food, they don't have mattresses, they don't have pillows, they are cold, they're being treated poorly. That is the concern. Those $45 billion should be put back into our law enforcement system. That's already in place.
If you're in the Senate right now, what would you be doing about the situation potentially in Merrimack? We don't know if a immigrant detention facility is coming, but what would you be doing with that piece of information that we have so far?
Again, why do we need a separate law and order system, so-called law and order? Again, ICE is not law and order.
I mean, it was law and order when it was called INS. Change the name, put a new logo on it, and all of a sudden it's bad.
But why do we need to create a new detention center? We already have a prison system.
Because we had 20 million more extra people.
If anyone breaks the law, the law enforcement officers should obtain a legal warrant signed by a judge.
We don't need legal warrants if they're on deportation orders already.
With showing evidence why that person needs to be arrested.
I can show you thousands of people that got deported and what they were picked up for. It's on the website. Now, just keep that in mind. All these thousands of people that are getting deported, I want you to think about that. Those are the ones that are getting deported. Are they counting the self-deportees, self-deportations? I think that's what they're doing. Now, Trump is deporting all these people. But then you go to the website of the ones they're deporting, and that's what they have. What I think is going on, and I think I said this before, I think these people are getting detained. Right. Good job. ICE is doing their job. All these people that are getting detained, they get to the detention center, and they're like, listen, you don't have a criminal record. I'm going to give you one of two choices. We can send you home without the possibility of ever coming back, or you can self-deport. We'll give you $3,000, a plane ticket for you and your family, and you have the possibility to apply in 2 years. And it's something like 1 million, 1.1 or 1.2 so far have taken that. It's the ones with the warrants that I think they're actually going through the whole process. It kind of makes sense now why they're moving so many people out. But they want to make you think it's all bad. They're all bad. I think all the good people are getting paid to leave. And they have that possibility. That's just me. That's how I would do it, honestly. Yeah. Not the people that are, and that's the thing, Angela. That's why I said that thing only shows the people that they were arrested and deported. That was a lot of fucking names. But there's no way it's 1 point, they're saying all these good people are getting deported. No, I think they are, but I think the good people are getting that money and that possibility to return. Like I said, it's a smart move. But the ones that are criminals are the ones that they're crying about.
Arrest that one person, not randomly based on the color of someone's skin or whether they're working at Home Depot or at a construction site. Or
Lady, on that list, there's a bunch of fucking white people from Europe and Australia on that list committing crimes. Just saying, they're getting deported at the same clip.
Or landscaping site. Arrest them and allow them due process, which is a constitutional right, and then go through the court system and prosecute them as needed and show them the evidence. Not thuggish behavior that we're seeing.
You mentioned Venezuela. I want to move there for a little bit. You've said this is an illegal action. Should Maduro be released and allowed to go back?
Okay, so this is another thing. Donald Trump is so confusing. Every single day, we are not sure why he went into Venezuela. First, it was about the fentanyl. Then it was about, oh no, Maduro is not a legitimate president. Right. Then it was about, oh, ExxonMobil and Chevron are owed money by Venezuela. Constantly, the narrative is changing. So which narrative do you want to answer to? At the moment, there's Maduro. Rodriguez is in place. Machado is giving up her Nobel Prize, trying to get back into Venezuela.
Answer the question.
That is absolutely not our decision. The people of Venezuela should decide who should be governing them.
Yeah, I gave you the link, and it tells you right there. Hold on, I'll pull it up again. Yeah, it tells you. I mean, you can obviously search. So I searched minors. It tells you where they're from, what they're convicted of, where they are arrested, and their name. Like, this is just for minors, and there's 75 pages of just minors, which is wild if you ask me. Because then you take it down to just everyone. It's 1,600 tabs. These are the people that they're talking about, that they're crying about. Fucking 12 to 14 per page with 1,600 pages. It's fucking wild if you ask me. Wild. They're not deporting criminals. Bro, they're deporting people that y'all motherfuckers keep left in the country.
Not Donald Trump and not the people of the United States.
If Venezuela can make a successful transition to a more democratic nation, does Donald Trump deserve any credit for that?
Why don't we, I don't want to answer hypotheticals. Let's see about that. Because right now, what is he talking about? Nation building? We should learn from our time in Afghanistan and our time in Iraq. Nation building does not work. We should allow the people of that country to decide, not a foreign power, not the United States. It has been...
The people tried twice. And the guy who you won't answer the question of should he be released didn't follow those election results by force.
Too expensive, both in terms of economic cost to us, in terms of human cost to us, and in terms of environmental cost. We should not go into any kind of conflict. We should actually allow the...
We're not in conflict. We didn't lose anybody. We didn't lose anything. Trump has no desire to go into Venezuela. He's already said that.
People of Venezuela to decide who should govern them.
So go towards elections, and that's...
Absolutely.
That's what they want.
Right.
Well, Dr. Manzoor, we've hit our time yet again. We'll be back here in a couple months.
Man. I'm never running
You
for
probably
office.
might go to jail.
I'm never running for office. I don't really know if I want to play that one. But yeah, isn't that some stupid shit? Completely insane. And she's running for Senate, guys. She's running for Senate. I need to go see if she's in a debate. Bro, I wonder how that debate will go. And then if she wins the nomination, I wonder how the debate's going to go against the Republican. New Hampshire might be fucked. Then again, that's not Bernie's state. Bernie's Vermont. Same area. Same area. Same mentality. Look at Maine. Look at Maine. You know who else is from Maine? Stephen King. You know what's fucked up about Stephen King? He's a pedophile and he pretends he's not. And he pretty much puts some of his fantasy in his books. Just saying. Just saying. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's end it at that. That's all I got for you today. Hope y'all learned something. I learned something, well, when I was watching it yesterday. You might not agree with what Trump has said. I may not agree with a lot of shit Trump has said or done, but I like what he's talking about. America. You know, we used to have an institute in Fort Benning, Georgia called WINSEC, Western Hemisphere. And it was where we would get to train all these other military leaders from all across these countries from the Western Hemisphere. And we would war plan. Oh my God, I said too much. Never mind. I'm just telling you to think. I said that other part right. Shit.
They talk to me.